Hello, welcome to Kelly's Roadhouse. My name is Paula and I'm here with Rich.
Hello.
This fortnight we've been reading Crash Landing, book number 20.
Yes, we have.
Rich liked this book a lot better than I did.
I loved this book. I had a great time the last couple of days reading this one.
It's not one of my favourites. I mean, I didn't hate it, but...
It's got some fantastic moments.
My pastel paperbacks, it's the first Sweet Valley High ever that she ever read, and she says it's still an epic one.
It is an epic one. Oh wow, imagine starting with this one.
Yeah. You'd
be like, who are these strangers crashing into a lake?
Yeah. So we've got a purple cover, very nice pastely purple, and it's got a scene on the front which annoys me because it's got a picture of Enid's unconscious and she's in Elizabeth's arms.
Yeah, and Elizabeth's holding her in a way that you should definitely not hold someone when they've been paralysed or they've got back injuries. It's really not a good place to hold someone.
Yeah, and also this doesn't happen in the book.
And also, this literally doesn't happen in the book. Liz is at the police station, as we know from the last book, when the plane goes down. So yeah, she's not even there. It
says underneath, will Elizabeth lose her best friend?
How would she lose her best friend?
She died in the plane crash.
Oh, I guess. But then that would then mean that the cover is her holding her dead body.
On the back, it says, Terror in the Skies. George Warren has been looking forward to taking his girlfriend, Enid Rollins, as a passenger on his first licensed flight. He hasn't really been looking forward to it.
Well, he's been looking forward to the flight. He's not looking forward to what happens immediately after the flight.
Afterwards, he's going to tell her something he's known for a long time. He doesn't love her anymore and their relationship is over. Then he'll be free to date Robin Wilson, the girl he does love.
I still love this idea that he was like, I'll give her something nice first.
I know.
I'll just give her like this flight and then I'll break her world.
But as he and Enid are flying, George loses control of the plane and is forced to make a crash landing.
Oh boy.
Enid is seriously injured and George is overcome with guilt. He can't possibly break up with Enid now. But how long can he pretend to be in love with her and continue living a lie? Well,
let's find out.
Yeah, we get straight into the action, don't we?
Yeah, well, of course, the last book ended with the Wakefields at the police station. Jess had just been,
attacked by Jack O'Lantern.
By Jack O'Lantern, Jack the Ripper. And they were at the police station when they heard over the radio that a plane was coming down over Seca Lake. And, of course, Liz immediately knew that's the plane that George and Enid were flying.
Yeah. So we open on that plane. Enid's absolutely ecstatic, enjoying the view. But the pilot, George, is anxious because he's thinking about how to dump her. So, what if you missed it? George is having an affair with Robin Wilson.
Yes, caught in the act with Robin Wilson by Liz.
Mm-hmm. And he thinks, Robin Wilson also goes out with somebody already called Alan Walters.
Who's a sweet, lovely boy.
Yeah, and she's already finished with Alan.
Yeah.
But George thought, before I finish with Enid, I'll just take her up on this flight.
This one will fly,
promised her.
Yeah. He's like, a promise is a promise.
I don't think that's a good idea, really. I think she would have just preferred,
I'd be even more angry.
Yeah.
I'd be like, why did you do all of that?
And it would taint that memory forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tainted, obviously, anyway, because the plane crashes.
But... yeah, it's never going to be a good memory. But it's weird because it's like, I'd just be like, well, you lulled me into a false sense of security by doing something really sweet.
You made me even happier.
Yeah, and then you ruined everything.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, in the plane, it actually says... One glance at Enid told George this wasn't the right moment.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, no shit.
He wasn't even going to wait until after the flight. He was legitimately considering breaking up with her in the middle of the sky.
Yeah, like she's stuck in the air with
literally
you.
Stuck in a plane with him.
This is definitely not the right moment.
Well, he's meant to be piloting. And he's like, no, let's have this argument now.
He pulled on the yoke. Wasn't sure what a yoke was. Is that how you pronounce it?
The stick, basically.
The gear stick.
Yeah.
He pulled on the yoke to take them higher, but something was wrong. The engine cut out and the plane was plummeting.
Oh boy.
Enid screams and he radios air traffic control. They tell him to land in Seca Lake to break the fall.
Yes.
So he yells over at Enid to make sure she opens her door just before they hit the water. so that it doesn't jam shut.
Yeah, because the water will seal it shut. Yeah.
And down they go.
So they hit the water. The plane ends up upside down, and George hits his head and is knocked out.
When Enid opens her eyes, they're still strapped in their seats and like hanging upside down.
Yeah.
George's head's bleeding. So she releases herself and she swims around to George's side to release him.
Yeah.
And somehow during this, she falls back and...
Yeah, so I think she frees George, and then I guess it's like the...
he's conscious again suddenly.
Yeah, and I guess it's because he moves, she gets pushed away or something. But in any case, yeah, her back is struck by this metal strut, and she starts feeling a terrible pain.
And then she tells George she can't feel her legs.
Yeah.
He carries her to the shore. Meanwhile, all the Sweet Valley High gang are at the lake for a picnic.
They just happen to be at the lake at the same time.
Yeah, everybody.
Which is weird because, like I said to you, I should have known they were doing this, but I just didn't click because it seemed really odd in the last book when Jess all of a sudden was like, well, I have to go and meet Todd and Liz at Seca Lake. It was like, why? That's a real specific thing to bring up. And just didn't even click. So, Todd and Ken and a bunch of the kids are watching as this plane goes down.
Yeah. Todd saves the day. He runs to Seca Lodge to call the police. And now they're all just watching the boat rescue Enid and George.
Yeah, so they said, the emergency services said, like, please just stay the fuck out of the way, kids, while we deal with this. Like, don't get involved.
Shame lifesaver Mr. Collins isn't there.
I was hoping Bill Chase, because, he's a swimmer, right?
Yeah.
I was like, Bill Chase should go out there and rescue them.
So George and Enid are lifted onto stretchers. Robin takes one look at George and she faints.
Yeah, she's absolutely horrified and faints. I thought that was probably, it could also be due to her diet of lettuce and full-on exercise. But, yeah.
Well, she hasn't gone back on that diet yet, has she?
Well, I don't know. Did she not keep that diet up this whole time? This really unhealthy diet?
I'm assuming not as extreme.
Maybe not, yeah. I guess maybe she's got a few calories going.
So we cut to the police station where we left the Wakefields. Jessica screams that she'll die if anything happens to Enid.
You did not hear that wrong.
Yeah.
Jessica screams that she will die if anything happens to Enid Rollins, the girl that she hates and slags off every chance she gets. So,
as we said earlier, the Wakefields are at the police station to report Jessica's attack.
By Jack the Ripper.
And then we cut to the hospital. Dr. McGregor tells Enid's mum that the situation is very serious.
Yeah.
She's hit a disc in her spine and it's cut off all nerve communication to her legs. So she's paralysed.
Yes. Now, they believe they have a procedure that can help this, but they need to wait for the inflammation and whatnot to go down first. And he also says to Mrs. Rollins that George is okay, but he would have been dead if it wasn't for Enid.
George has actually snuck into Enid's room.
Yeah.
She's asleep, but he talks to her anyway. He tells her that she saved his life and he's going to make it up to her. And then he says to her out loud,
I know.
There's no way I can tell you about Robin now. It's like, you're lucky she didn't wake up or she's not like half
some
asleep.
comatose people
can hear every word.
Things, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
So yeah, he basically just says, yeah, well, I'm not going to tell you to make you, because you'll feel really bad if I tell you and I can't tell you. So I'm just going to pretend like I was never going to split up with you. But then there's a problem. Sudden panic hits George as he realizes, oh yeah, Liz caught us.
Oh yeah. Also, he sobs all over Enid's neck.
Yeah.
And he's convinced that his inexperience caused the engine to fail.
Yeah.
But the emergency services are going to dredge the plane out and investigate.
Yes, yeah.
That night, Liz is restless and she's angry at George.
Yes, she's fuming. But, she's hoping that the doctors are going to operate in the next few days and that Enid will be all right.
And she actually hopes that George just forgets about Robin and gives Enid all the love she needs to recover.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like she's planning on telling Enid.
No.
On Monday...
Certainly not while she's paralysed anyway.
Yeah. On Monday, Jess goes to a gourmet cooking class.
Yes, and she's not very happy about it. She's been talked into it by Lila before all of the Jack business.
It's a bit of a weird thing for teenagers to do, isn't it?
Well, as Lila will point out towards the end of this book, she's got servants anyway and doesn't need to cook.
Yeah.
It's all bizarre. It's
Very
really
weird.
bizarre. So I assumed at first that Lila had gone to the class because of Jean-Pierre, who we'll meet shortly. But it turns out no. So
No.
I guess she just wanted to do it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Lila's still not speaking to her after what happened with Jack.
Yes.
So Jessica pretty much stole Jack from Lila.
Well, did. No doubt.
Well, yeah.
Absolutely
Which turned
did.
out fine because Jack turned out to be a psychopath.
I still don't think that
But-
makes it fine.
She
like,
still did it, yeah.
Like, if my best friend did that, I'd still be like, but... Yeah, okay, they turned out to be a psycho,
But you didn't know that.
but I
and
still hate you
Yeah.
because you still cheated. So, like,
Yeah.
you still did that. Like, it doesn't matter.
So at the Civic Centre, which is where the class is held, the instructor's late.
Yeah.
So the old lady who runs the centre tells them that they're making mustard. She gives them some mustard seeds, a mortar, a pestle, and tells them to just pound away.
Get on with it.
Good professional class.
That's
there.
it, yeah.
And Jessica's pissed off. She wanted to make elegant dishes.
She didn't want to make any dishes, really.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And she wants Lila to know how mad she is, but she doesn't want to talk to her.
Yeah.
So she just starts smashing the seeds really hard and like muttering under her breath, like,
Yeah.
this is a waste of time. Bang, bang, bang.
But while she's doing it, she accidentally spills some of the mix onto Lila's brand new Lisette's blouse.
Yeah, a dollop of brown goo. And it's a silk blouse.
My
Very
goodness.
weird choice of clothing to wear to a cookery class.
It's very Enid, though. Very Enid. It's very Lila, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you're going to a cooking class, you know you're going to get stuff on you.
She can afford it.
Like, you wouldn't. So Lila's fuming, and she says it costs $90.
Yeah, and Jess, quite rightly, I think, Jess just thinks, like, I don't care because you're rich and everything you own costs loads of money and is kind of irrelevant to you.
Yeah. Lila tells Jess she doesn't want to talk to her about mustard or anything else.
Oh, boy.
And Jessica admits what she did wasn't very nice, but she says she really did Lila a favour.
Yeah.
And Jack just did deceive both of them.
Again, she didn't intend to, though.
No,
like, she
she never
happens to
does.
have done her a favour, but yeah.
But then Lila smiles and she thinks Jessica's just too good of a friend to stay mad at for long.
Oh, you're doing an
Like,
Elizabeth now.
She's so good of a friend, she tried to steal your boyfriend.
They haven't been good friends since twins.
And also, yeah, like you said, is she Elizabeth now? That's what Elizabeth says. Like,
That's what
I can't
Elizabeth
stay
does.
mad
I can't
at her
stay
for
mad
long.
at you for long. Yeah.
It's just the Jessica effect.
And at least she's
nobody
got,
can stay
like-
angry at her.
Yeah, and at least she's got biology to fall back on. She's like, okay, well, we're biological sisters. I'll forgive her.
Yeah. But they call a truce. Then their tutor arrives.
Yeah, this truce lasts like 5 seconds because then Jean-Pierre turns up and Lila's just giving Jess shit for the rest of the book.
Jean-Pierre Baptiste.
Oh my goodness.
He's the author of several cookbooks and one of the finest French chefs in California. He's in his early 20s, 6 foot tall, with broad shoulders tapering down to a slender waist. And I imagined him as Johnny Bravo shaped.
Yep, Johnny Bravo. Brilliant.
With like massive shoulders. that
Hopefully
just
with the
goes
hair
down.
as well.
Well, we had jet black hair,
Oh, okay.
chiseled features, and intense blue eyes. He spoke in a thick French accent that made his words sound magical.
Wow. Do you remember in the last book, remember Jack? How Jack was the most handsome man that Jess had ever seen in her whole life?
Mm.
Well, guess what? Jean-Pierre Baptiste is the most handsome man that Jessica's ever seen in her entire life.
They just get more and more handsome for her.
but like, I'm assuming that, because this has gone on for like most of this
Imagine
series
in a
now.
few years, like she's going to be seeing people so handsome that
I mean, I thought she started
Maybe
on
out
a
of
10,
control.
and now it's just gone like,
Yeah.
I mean, where are we now? Where is this scale?
she actually says, "Good Lord,"
she actually says out loud.
and drops her pestle on the floor. She says to Lila, "I'm in love with a real European man," like as opposed to a fake one.
I mean, to be honest with you, right? If I was Lila now, I would now be thinking, I am glad I'm friends with this person because this is hilarious.
When she said about the real European man, I thought, well, she was in love with one a couple of weeks ago, Hans, in Special Christmas. But then I was like, oh yeah, that was out of order. And this,
I guess that was the second European man.
Yeah, because we skipped ahead.
We did,
and I was like, oh damn it. So she spends the entire class thinking about falling madly in love with Jean-Pierre, flying to France and living in a chateau, kissing him under the Eiffel Tower. The
standard Jessica Wakefield dream.
Daydream.
Yeah.
She has a few of them in this book.
I love them. There's got to be at least one per book, I think.
Yeah, they're always way over the top.
Yeah.
And she's also thinking of the upcoming school dance.
You're right, actually. It's never like, we'll probably go out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like we're going to be married. Like, I'm rich.
Yeah.
And it always ends up with Lila Fowler being pissed off at her for some reason. Like, she'll be jealous.
Every dream she has.
Yeah.
So she's also thinking of the upcoming school dance. They've got another dance. God knows what it's for.
Who knows?
But there is another dance.
There's another dance coming up.
She's determined to take this man in his 20s to her high school dance.
That sounds like a really good way to get yourself arrested.
And she thinks the way to his heart has got to be through his stomach.
Sure. But he's like a massively talented chef, so you've got an uphill battle to win that one.
On the way home in Lila's lime green Triumph, they stop at Robin's house to tell her that cheerleading practice has been moved.
Yes.
And Lila tells Jess that Cara told her that Robin's dumped Alan for a mystery guy.
Yes, no one knows who this guy is.
And then when they get to Robin's, they see George on the driveway, walking towards his car.
Oh no.
Jessica tells Lila to drive on. And Lila's like, I wonder if George is Robin's mystery man.
Yeah. Like, well, it's hardly subtle, is it?
And then Jess tells her about Robin passing out of the lake, and Lila's like, it's a closed case then.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a pretty reasonable conclusion to come to at this point.
And Jessica says, you'd think he'd wait until Enid was out of hospital before cheating on her. It's like it'd be okay when she's out of hospital. Just wait.
Just wait. I mean,
also, he already has been cheating on her.
Yeah, and also,
she was
Jess, you literally cheated on with your best friend, like in the last book. Like yesterday, you cheated on your best friend. I guess Lila wasn't in the hospital, which is the only thing that makes it worse.
And then we cut to George driving home. So he'd actually gone over to end it with Robin.
Yes.
But she wasn't at home.
Mm-hmm.
He's decided the right thing to do is to stay with Enid, at least until she recovers. He'd spotted Lila's lime green Triumph, funnily enough, because it's not a car that blends in.
No, I imagine it stands out in the crowd, yep.
And he was worried about word getting out, and also about Liz blabbing.
Yeah.
When Jessica gets home, she tells Elizabeth what she saw, and Elizabeth is furious.
Fuming.
She asked Jessica to keep quiet about it to protect Enid's feelings.
Yeah, as if Jessica Wakefield is going to do that.
Literally straight away at school the next day, Jessica blabs to Cara.
Yes. Cara, by the way, quote, Cara the Mouth, quoting Lila Fowler from the last book.
Yeah, and Cara says, what Robin and George are doing is foul. My
favourite bit of this conversation is that they say how awful Robin's actions are, and then Cara asks if Enid's okay, and Jessica apparently says that it doesn't sound good whilst opening the wrapper of her popsicle, quote, mournfully. How do you mournfully open a popsicle wrapper?
I don't know. Just do it really slowly.
Just do it slowly and with a real sad face.
And Jessica suddenly likes Enid now because
I know. Now it's like, oh my god, she's not popular, but everyone's talking about her. So therefore,
it actually says she's enjoying the excitement and attention she's getting because she's Enid's best friend's sister.
Brilliant.
And she thinks Robin is an evil temptress.
So were you in the last book.
And almost every book.
And almost every book. But it's like literally this was yesterday that you did this, Jess. Or no, 2 days now, I guess.
And then they remind us how, so I'm going to quote this now. They remind us how a strict diet and exercise regime had helped Robin to become pretty.
Pretty?
And it's like...
It helped her become pretty?
Yeah.
Well, it helped her to lose weight and almost
And also,
die.
when they say strict diet and exercise regime, do they mean like unhealthy
She just
diet?
didn't eat and ran around the track every day, didn't she?
Yeah.
It's like the most unhealthy thing she could have done.
And we're told even though Jess had grown fond of her, now she fucking hates her again.
Yeah, it didn't take long, did it? So
No.
Cara asks Jessica, what are they going to do about Robin? And Jessica replies, Cold War. Absolute Cold War.
And she also says they should tell everybody.
Yeah,
how
make sure that
evil she
everybody
is.
hates her.
Yeah. And Cara agrees. Cara says, it's the least we can do for poor Enid.
Should be easy for everyone to remember because everyone was horrible to Robin like a couple of weeks ago.
Go back
so
to doing
just
it
go
again.
back to that again.
Yeah, and Cara says it's the least they can do for poor Enid. It's like, you could
Not
just,
helping Enid at all.
just send her
by doing
flowers or a card.
that. Yeah, that would be nicer, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you don't need to do this. And then Robin comes over and sits with them in the cafeteria. They completely blank her.
Yeah, she asks what happened last night. She went to cheerleader practice and they weren't there. She waited for 30 minutes.
And
But yeah, she completely blanks her. No response at all.
yeah, and they just walk away.
Yeah.
Robin doesn't understand what's going on, and she thinks, well, it must just be my imagination.
It's like I don't understand how it could be your imagination when someone literally blanks you and walks away going, I need to go and make sure that Enid's okay, Cara.
Yeah.
Come with me.
So, of course, she feels lonely and upset. So what does she do? She starts staring at Cara's leftover ice cream.
Yes.
Because she always turns to food when she feels bad. See, it's unhealthy. This is not healthy.
No.
This relationship she has with food. And it doesn't go away, I'll tell you that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but we get a major book.
She seems to go to
storyline about
extremes,
this.
doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's extremes with her diet.
And I'm not really looking forward to that one because it's quite upsetting.
Okay. I think the last Robin one was pretty upsetting, actually.
Yeah, it's worse.
Yeah.
But
Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah, I look forward to that one. And Robin had spoken to George last night and they'd ended things. She knew it was the right thing to do, but she was still upset.
Yeah, she feels terrible.
And then
she basically feels like she's lost everything now.
yeah.
You know, because she's lost Alan and George.
Yeah.
Because, of course, you know, she split up with Alan and then George was like, I'm going to take her up in this plane first. So, you know.
And then she sees Todd and Liz and she tries to ask Liz how Enid is. And Liz blanks her too, pretty much.
Yep.
Liz just says no change and walks off.
Oh, boy.
She's nearly in tears now, so she heads straight to the counter to get a big piece of chocolate cake.
With ice cream.
And she thinks, it won't matter if I get fat again now, since I've got no friends.
That's a quote, by the way.
Yeah.
She says it doesn't matter if she gets fat anymore because no one will be around to care.
There is your health to think about, Robin. But you know.
Yeah, I mean, your quality of life might tank as well.
Yeah, she's in the cheerleading squad now, you know.
Yeah, and she must enjoy those things.
Then we cut to Elizabeth and George at the hospital with Enid.
Yes, the doctors say they can operate in the next few days.
George tells Elizabeth how amazing Enid is for saving his life. And Liz just, awkwardly changes the subject.
Yeah.
She starts talking to Enid about Jessica's cooking class, and she gives Enid a raspberry torte that Jessica has made especially for Enid.
Well, given
is
what
going
happens
on?
when people eat food later on, this is probably not a good idea.
And all this time, George is just standing awkwardly at the end of the bed.
Yeah.
And then he makes an excuse to leave.
Yeah, and then, Liz starts talking about the upcoming dance to the girl who's recently paralyzed from the waist down. She's like, just trying to impress this Jean-Pierre guy because she wants to take him to the dance, the big dance that all of us are going to. We're going to go have a lovely dance with our legs.
And then back at home, George feels cheap and dishonest. Because you are.
Because you are, yeah. That's correct.
His mum's got some news for him, though. The plane has been found, but he's still sure they won't find anything wrong with it. He thinks it's all his fault.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the day of Enid's operation.
Yes.
She's asked to see Elizabeth and George beforehand.
Yeah,
in case she dies.
In case she dies, yes. But of course, Liz still wants nothing to do with George, so they're just awkwardly sat there on their own waiting.
Yeah. George reassures her that Sleep Valley doctors know exactly what they're doing.
They fucking don't.
I'm not sure about that.
They definitely don't. Remember the like, oh, just tell this person nice stories and they'll be better again.
And then, so she makes them promise to wait outside until the operation's over. So they just have to sit there together.
Yep.
For however long. A few hours at least, I guess.
I guess. It would be a while, wouldn't it? Because you got sedation and stuff after.
And then we go to Jessica at her cooking class.
Yeah, she's busy telling Lila how incredible that Jean-Pierre is.
They're making puff pastry, and Jean-Pierre's told them it's one of the most important challenges a chef can face. It must be light and flaky. Sounds like Great British Bake Off.
Does it? I've never watched it.
Oh, that's the sort of things they say before they set the challenges.
Right.
They're like, this is one of the most important challenges you can face. Jessica can't believe how sexy he makes the word sound. Yeah, I've never heard the words light and flaky sound sexy, to be honest.
No, well, you've never heard it with a French accent, I guess.
Might have done.
Well, maybe.
I haven't, though. And I've certainly never heard Jean-Pierre Baptiste say them.
No.
Lila's complaining that the dough feels slimy and that the class is a waste of time.
Yep.
Jessica says it's important to know how to cook. And then we get another one of her wild daydreams.
Yes, we do.
Jean-Pierre will take her to Paris and let her cook in one of his restaurants. People from all over the world will rave about her pastry, and this will make him fall madly in love with her.
And make Lila Fowler really jealous.
Of course. Lila tells Jess that he's too old for her, but she says, it's different in European countries.
It's not.
It's like, no, a paedophile is still a paedophile.
It's not. Yeah, I'm bearing in mind as well that Jessica won't date a guy who's 1 year younger than her. Like, 1 year is apparently the limit for her.
Yeah.
And Jean-Pierre's in his 20s. She's 16.
She tells Lila he's going to be her date for the school dance, and Lila says she's insane.
Yeah, she says you've completely flipped this time.
But when he comes over and he tells Jessica she's a natural at pastry, she's now convinced that he's in love with her.
It couldn't be that she just made good pastry.
Yeah,
no.
Must be in love with her. She's got another reason for working hard at the cookery class as well, though.
Yeah, this is a bit of a sad, B-plot, this.
Yeah, well, this is leading on to Runaway, our next book.
I know. I'm nodding and smiling as you say it because I'm excited.
There's a reason we're excited about that. We'll tell everyone later.
Yeah.
But she's sick of Elizabeth outshining her at gift giving because she's so, quote, perfect, organised, thoughtful and loving.
Yeah.
But their parents' anniversary is coming up. Jessica usually forgets, but this year she wants to make them a special gourmet dinner.
And Jean-Pierre can help her get that. And also, if she can get with Jean-Pierre at the same time, that's a bonus.
Yeah. Back at the hospital, Ina's operation is done and she's okay.
Yeah.
She'll need physio until she can regain the use of her legs, but she can come home next week.
Mm-hmm.
Liz and George are alone in the waiting room while Mrs. Rollins goes in to see Enid first.
Yeah.
And
he tells Liz while she's there that she has to believe him, that he won't do anything to hurt Enid. And Liz just shouts, no. Like, no, I will not believe you.
And then he says how hard it'll be on Enid if Elizabeth tells her.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth says, it's not your place to tell me how to treat Enid.
My best friend.
But she agrees that she won't say anything. And George looks so unhappy that she actually feels a bit sorry for him.
Yeah, it looks like he's not slept and he's just really upset.
Mm. At school, Robin started falling behind on her work. And she has gained 10 pounds.
Oh my God, she's morbidly obese now. 10 whole pounds?
So she's back on her diet. I say diet, loose as a loose term.
Yes.
So she's just had a boiled egg for breakfast and a salad for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And she's hungry and she's miserable.
Yeah.
Everyone at school's avoiding her, just like the old days.
Yeah, Lila's ignored her. Apparently, Dee Dee and Suzanne even swapped teams in gym, when Robin joined them.
Well, that's because she's too fat to.
Because she's too
She's
fat.
too fat to play now. Don't want a fatty on their team, do they? That's nothing to do with the George thing.
No, this has got everything to do with Sweet Valley girls being bitches.
But she sees Liz in the study lounge, which is a place I don't think we've visited before.
No, new room in Sweet Valley High.
And she begs Liz to tell her what's going on.
I don't get this. She begs Liz. She's like, I don't understand what's going on. And it's like, well, you know why Liz isn't speaking to you because she caught you both.
Yeah, it
like,
should really
of
be
all
obvious
people.
what's going on.
Well, yeah, A, it should be obvious what's going on anyway. But B, like, you know why Liz is out upset with you. Like, she made that perfectly clear, like, the day before.
She begs Liz to go for a sundae with her at Casey's. And Liz reluctantly agrees.
Sounds like a nice place.
We'll go there next week.
Yeah.
And when they get to Casey's, Liz feels like a traitor. Robin, of course, orders a huge ice cream sundae.
Oh.
And saintly Liz just gets an iced tea. To keep her perfect size 6-figure.
Robin says she shouldn't get a sundae as she's gained weight. And Liz thinks she has gained weight.
Yeah, she does, yeah.
But she says, you look fine because she can't be bothered with small talk.
Okay.
That's her reasoning. She's like, I can't be bothered to have small talk, so I'll just say she looks fine. Even though in Liz's opinion, she does look like she's gained weight.
Robin asks Liz why everyone's avoiding her, and Liz says, I'm not comfortable discussing this. Like, Liz, why did you think she'd ask you to go there?
Yeah, why did you come here in the first place?
It was obviously to discuss this.
Yeah, clearly.
And then she goes and she's like, I'm not discussing this.
Yeah, I just came for an iced tea.
Yeah. But Robin keeps on at her until Liz admits that it's about George. And Robin says, it's over with George unless... And Liz says, do you mean unless Enid gets better?
Well, yeah, and Robin does kind of admit that, well, yeah, you know, if Enid was well, we'd be able to get on with our lives.
And Liz says, I can't listen to any more of this. And she storms out, leaving Robin to pig out on the sundae.
Yes.
Bet she does pig out on it. Tears falling into the ice cream.
So, it's dinner time. And Jessica asks to Alice, when can I cook a meal, Mum? And Alice says, I don't know. Are you sure you're up to it, dear?
It's a bit rude. She's going to cooking classes.
Your, quite frankly, bitch of a daughter is finally doing something constructive and nice, and you shit all over it. The whole way through this book, they shit on everything she does. Do. It's like, it's no wonder she's the way she is.
Yeah. But Jessica is looking critically at Alice's barbecue chicken.
Yeah.
Not good enough.
It's not fancy enough.
Liz tells them all that Enid still isn't walking, and the doctors had said she should be able to walk straight away.
Yeah,
so
Ned,
she's a bit worried.
She's worried, but Ned says, you know, it may just be taking a little bit longer. It's nothing to worry about.
And then Jessica's got some news.
I can't believe this.
I can't believe this. They've had a letter about their tour guide jobs.
I thought we would never hear about those jobs again.
Yeah.
Like, never. I thought that was
book,
done.
Was that like book number 2?
It was ages ago. It was really early on. And I thought...
That was all night long, I think. Yeah, that was when she stayed out all night long in the woods with... Scott. And then she didn't turn up for the exam.
That's right. And then Liz did the twin
all night long
thing.
Is... to look and see if there's a list in the front of this book.
4, 5? It's early on. It's really early on. And I assumed we would never hear about this again, you know?
All Night Long's book number 5, yeah. And we're now on book 20. So 15 books later, the tour guide job they sat exams for and made a massive fuss over is finally being mentioned again.
I honestly thought they'd never come back to it.
So there's a problem, though.
Yeah.
They don't provide transport to the tour centre and it's miles away.
They're going to have to get the bus.
No. Jessica says that they worked so hard at getting accepted. It's like, no, you fucking didn't.
Well, Liz did.
Yeah, Liz sat 2 exams.
Worked hard.
Liz sat 2 exams and pretended to be you. You didn't do anything.
No, nothing.
But Alice gives them some good news.
I thought this news was going to be that they were going to get the Jeep.
Not quite
yet.
It's
too soon.
We got a long time.
I remembered as I read that Double Jeopardy happens after this, and there's still the Fiat. So
yeah, We've got a long time to go before the Jeep comes in.
I don't know why I'm so excited for this damn
time.
Jeep.
We've got years.
Okay.
I think you're so excited about it because it's on the TV show.
Because it's on the TV show, yeah. I think that's it. It's kind of iconic.
To me, like the red Fiat Spider is more iconic because
they have it longer.
I read the books before I watched the TV show.
Well, the TV show was the only reference I had when we started doing this, so yeah.
I wish the Fiat Spider had been in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish Lila's Lime Green Triumph had been in it.
Yeah, I don't remember what she drives in that, actually.
No. So the good news is that Alice is getting a bigger car and the twins can have the Fiat Spider to keep.
Yeah, Jess is thrilled. She even screams, I think.
And then Liz asks them if she can have a dinner party on Friday. Just her, Todd, Enid and George.
Yeah.
Again, that's a bit of a weird thing for a teenager to ask for.
It's pretty weird.
These teenagers are wearing silk blouses, doing gourmet cooking classes, having dinner parties.
Yeah.
Just go out and get pissed with your mates and wild house parties.
Go find a bridge and get pissed under it with your friends like everybody else.
Yeah. But yeah, Liz wants a dinner party.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, she can do that because it turns out, and Ned is very creepy about this, that they've got a date that night. Ned says, Alice says, well, we're going out that evening anyway. And Ned's like, you're not kidding. We're on a date.
Oh, God. And
it's such a creepy, weird thing for a dad to say in front of his
I know.
kids.
They're always going out anyway with their parents, aren't they? Jessica says that she's going to...
You remember Sexy Ned?
I do. It was going through my mind. Jessica says that she's going to the library to get out some cookbooks. The class is graduating to chicken cordon bleu next week. I can't pronounce that. Cordon bleu.
I'm just glad you pronounced it rather than me trying, to be honest.
Cordon bleu.
Yeah.
I don't know. And they're graduating to cordon bleu next week, and she wants to be ready. And Ned says, "Are you the same girl who won't even help me barbecue burgers?"
Well, she's been trying. She tried yesterday. You just told her she wasn't good enough.
Yeah. And she tells him that, more words I can't pronounce now. She tells him that burgers are gauche.
Yeah.
Gauche?
Burgers are now beneath her.
Burgers are gauche, and she likes haute food. I didn't say any of that.
I have
right.
no idea what those words even are.
I've never even heard of them.
No.
Maybe Jessica just made them up.
She might have done. I don't know.
Let us know. Anybody that knows French.
Yeah,
I did do it for 4 years in school, but I know nothing.
A German student, for reference.
I was just a shit French student.
Oh, I forgot all of my German the day after my exams.
But she says that they're gauche, and I like haute. I'm just not saying any of this right, but they probably don't know what that means. Well,
we don't.
Neither do we.
So yeah, correct.
And then we cut to Liz's dinner party.
She's made a spaghetti.
Classic.
It's a bit gauche, isn't it?
She should have asked Jessica to cook.
Well, she fucking shouldn't, because...
Oh, wow.
Enid's already paralysed.
Fucking bloody Todd, he's put on classical music.
I know,
It's like they're 50 years old, these kids. What are they doing?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, dinner party's bad enough. Dinner party with classical music. Now you're crossing the line. Even we, in our mid-30s, don't have dinner parties with classical music on.
At 14...
16.
No, sorry. Twins. It was all Johnny Buck.
Yeah.
And within 2 years, it's like classical music
they're over
now.
that now, yeah.
Didn't they go? They went to a classical bloody concert as well at one point, didn't they? Or they were going to. They were really excited about going to see some classical music.
Yeah. I can't remember that, but it does ring a little bell.
Vaguely.
So Enid's still not walking. George actually has to carry her in for some reason. I'm not sure why he didn't just wheel her in the fucking wheelchair.
God knows.
For some reason, he has to carry her in. Maybe the Wakefield house has got steps going up to it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
And Liz says to Todd, "I can't bear Enid being treated like an invalid."
Oh my goodness.
At dinner, Enid's really overly cheerful and forced.
Do you think it's time for another Special Olympics?
Yeah. Oh,
hey, you've got someone
no.
that can actually use a wheelchair as opposed to someone with a heart condition.
Yeah. Enid says, I don't know, she's the luckiest girl in the whole world. And she goes on and on about how much George is doing for her. Apparently he won't let her go anywhere on her own. I wouldn't say that's a good thing, really.
It's not a good thing. She also makes it clear that she's been missing rehab sessions.
Mm-hmm. She feels the nurses are pressuring her and she's still too weak.
Yeah, Liz is really worried that Enid's not helping herself, basically.
And the rest of the evening's really awkward.
Yeah, it's super awkward.
George keeps looking at his watch, and he hasn't even looked at Enid directly the whole night.
Yeah, he won't look her in the eyes. The thing is, I was like, I can see two sides of this, right? Because on the one hand, yes, George is clearly off with Enid, so that's awful, right? Mm-hmm. But I am also like, Liz, he knows that you know, and you've put yourselves in very intimate situations where he knows you know what he's done. So he's gonna be a bit awkward anyway. Like this is an awkward situation for him to be in that you've created here.
Yeah. And eventually George says, I've got some work to do, so I've got to go home. But he suggests that Enid stays and gets the lift home from Todd or Liz.
Yeah, and Enid says that's fine and agrees, but she's clearly sad.
And as soon as he's gone, Enid apologises for his rudeness. And Liz says, it's fine, it's good to get you alone. And she suggests they watch a video. Yeah. And then Enid is like, no, I'm tired, I want to go home. It's like, you literally like...
You could have got a lift home with George.
He's literally left like a few minutes ago.
Yeah. But then, like, George is gone, and now she's sat in this house with Liz and Todd and this fucking classical music playing. She's like, fuck it. Like, this is a terrible idea. Let's go.
And so Todd and Liz give her a lift. As they leave, Liz worries about leaving all the dirty dishes.
Yeah, but she feels that, you know, Alice and Ned will understand given the circumstances. They head to the car, and Todd, fucking Todd, in an attempt to lighten the mood, basically asks Enid, how am I meant to get how am I meant to get you in this fucking car? Like, like, how do I do this? And amazingly, Enid's not amused. She's just, she doesn't laugh. She doesn't find it funny that she's paralysed from the waist down.
Yeah, good joke, Todd.
Well done, Todd.
Meanwhile, Jessica's been in her room reading cookbooks.
Of course.
And then we get another daydream.
I know, this book is too good to us.
She looks around her messy bedroom and she imagines how it would look in People magazine when she's a famous chef. She says out loud, at home, the artist usually spends her evenings thumbing through new recipes. That is when she's not out dancing with her talented boyfriend, Jean-Pierre Baptiste. And she's decided to ask JP to the dance herself.
She's going to do it Monday night.
Sorry, I've written JP. I might keep accidentally saying JP instead of Jean-Pierre, but you know who I mean.
I do that later on.
I was writing Jean-Pierre so many bloody times.
I was going to say to you, I've written Jean-Pierre in this book more than... Because I couldn't put Jean, because I thought maybe it is Jean-Pierre is like the first...
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to write
Plus it sounds better.
It does sound way better.
Jean-Pierre.
Yeah. Jean-Pierre Baptiste is a fantastic
name. It really is. And I was very excited because, just to cut away from this book for
This cannot be a coincidence.
I read The Sweet Life last week, which, for those that don't know, is the twins in their 30s. And it's not Sweet Valley Confidential, it's after Sweet Valley Confidential.
It's the apology for Sweet Valley Confidential.
And it was brilliant.
You were well impressed. Yeah,
Sweet Valley Confidential did not like. The Sweet Life loved. So it was originally like a 6-part e-serial online, and then they've made it into one big hardback. But anyway, in The Sweet Life, Jessica's organising a work event, and apparently she's hired a French chef called Jean-Pierre, and I was like, oh my God.
It's got to be.
It's got to be the Jean-Pierre.
I refuse to accept that it's anything but.
But yeah, she decided to ask Jean-Pierre to the dance herself. Even though it was only a small dance, it wasn't even at the country club.
Yeah.
It's at the school gym.
Yeah, it's literally a school dance with a 16-year-old
in a gym
in school.
I'm sure like some guy in his 20s is going to want to do that.
Actually, in his 20s.
Yeah.
Could potentially be like 29.
Yeah. And she thinks about how jealous Lila and Cara will be, of course. And then she thinks how pleased her parents will be when she serves them the meal she's cooked. and Liz will have forgotten about the anniversary because of Enid. She'll pretend Liz helped with something easy, like cooking the rice, and Liz will feel like a jerk.
Yeah, well, basically, she wants Liz to feel how she feels every year.
Yeah.
And, she's trying to do something nice for her lovely parents, who then burst in the fucking door.
Screaming at her about the dishes that Elizabeth left.
Yeah, so basically, they blame Jessica for leaving the kitchen in an absolute state.
Even though they know that Liz has just had a dinner party.
I know. And Jessica's trying to explain herself, and they won't let her talk. Alice just keeps shouting at her about it.
And then when Jess finally gets through to Alice, like, they are Elizabeth's.
Yeah.
Alice doesn't apologise. She just starts nagging Jess about her bedroom.
Yeah, she's like, oh, yeah, well, it's really hard to tell the difference between my two daughters. Yeah. And also, clean your fucking room up.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you got caught out, and now you refuse to apologise. You're just going to pick on something else, like to have a go at her for.
Jessica says nobody ever accuses Elizabeth of making a mess. But, I mean, to be fair, Elizabeth doesn't usually make a mess.
Well, what she did quite rightly say is that if it was the other way around, they never would have accused Liz.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely right. And Alice denies this, but that is absolutely the truth. If it was the other way around, they wouldn't have dreamt of going up to Liz's room and blaming her.
Jessica storms up to her bedroom and she thinks she'll show them all. They'll be sorry when she cooks them the best dinner they've ever had. Like, that's a weird way to get revenge on somebody, but okay.
Yeah.
Like, they'll be sorry. I know what I'll do to get back at them. I'll cook them the best meal ever.
And they will eat it mournfully.
And they will, yeah. So, on Sunday, Enid's moping at home. She's waiting for George, who's half an hour late.
And hasn't been over all weekend.
Mm-hmm. She's noticed he hasn't kissed her all week either.
Oh my God.
But she tells herself he's probably just feeling guilty about the accident. When he finally turns up, he tries to get her to come out of her wheelchair, but she says she's still not ready.
Yeah.
There's a long, awkward silence.
Let's just be honest. At this point, he wants her to stand up out of the wheelchair so that he can finish with her. That's basically where we're at with George.
The second she stands up,
he's
he'll be
like,
right, well done,
tell you.
You're walking. By the way, you dumped.
Yep.
I mean, this is someone who would consider dumping her on a plane.
In mid-flight.
I wouldn't put this past him.
No.
So she asks him if he wants to go to the dance on Friday. She says it'll be fun even though she can't dance. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. And she's like, are you angry at me? And he's like, of course I'm not angry. Like,
I just enjoy raising my voice.
Yeah. And she tells him that he's all she's got left.
Oh.
Why are Robin and Enid like so obsessed with this jerk with no personality at all, from what I can see? Like,
yeah.
They're both like two like great girls. They're just moping over this fucking loser.
Jackass.
Like, oh, like my world is over.
He is nice enough to kneel down and give her a hug. Which I know it wasn't, but I couldn't help when reading it. It just sounded really patronising.
Yeah. And like, Robin's there like messing up her grades, her diet,
her health.
Like, yeah. And Enid's like stopping herself from recovering.
Yeah.
All for George.
Yeah, and also Robin's
He
like losing all of her
good
friends
looking.
and stuff as well.
But Enid thinks to herself, if she loses George, she, quote, might not be able to go on.
Jesus.
Like, this is getting really bad now.
This is getting terrible, yeah.
Because Enid's not usually one to be dramatic.
No, and although she is paralysed from the waist down, the doctors have been clear. She is fine. Like,
yeah.
She'll get over this. She just needs to go through the therapy and stuff and she'll be all right.
So we cut to the cookery class. Lila has had enough. She says not even a sexy French accent is worth ruining 2 silk blouses for.
Why did you wear the second?
I know.
Why did you
think
wear it the
after
second
what happened
time?
to the first one, you'd be like, okay, I won't wear silk blouses to
She
cooking
did the
class
same
anymore.
thing twice. Brilliant.
Just wore fucking another one, yeah. And she says she quits. And Jessica says, see how far you get when you've got to entertain important people. And Lila's like,
I've got slaves for
that's
that.
what servants are for.
Yeah.
And Jessica asks Lila if she looks okay, because today's the day. She's going to stay behind after class and ask Jean-Pierre to the dance. And Lila tells her she looks like the Pillsbury doughboy. Who needs enemies when you've got
I know.
friends like that? She's got flour on her nose, and Lila also says that her apron makes her look weird. And Lila also points out that, again, that Jean-Pierre is too old to go to a high school dance.
Yeah, as I said, this is a good way for him to get himself arrested.
And Jessica says,
unless you're Mr. Collins, you cannot be hanging around with 16-year-old girls.
And Jessica says, yeah, but he won't be going with just anyone. And also, he's probably got a thing for American girls. French men always do in movies.
Well, I'd like to think he had a thing for American women.
Yeah. Not girls.
Not girls.
In high school.
16-year-old high school girls.
Also, you know, Jessica's literally been attacked by... Because Jack was in his 20s.
Yes.
She's literally just been attacked by somebody. She's got over that fast.
I mean, we're saying on the outside a week since then. 2 weeks max. And she's already about to potentially make the same mistake. Yeah,
not that I'm saying Jean-Pierre will attack her, but...
No, but just that she's not learned at all.
If in real life, you'd be a bit more cautious.
You'd think, especially after
something like that.
Yeah.
You'd probably give guys a rest for a couple of months.
Well, and even then, you'd be careful and cautious.
Yeah. But Lila says, look, I've had enough. You can stay and play kitchen with Maurice, Matisse, or whatever his name is, until you die.
Wow.
Matisse Baptiste.
Matisse Baptiste.
So after class, Jessica takes ages packing away. Like, I imagine this to be just so blatant.
Like when she was at the pool with Jack walking
in front of Jack
front.
over and over again.
Yeah.
So she's doing it so that she's going to be left alone with Jean-Pierre. Jean-Pierre tells her what a great chef she is, and he asks if she'd like to take the intermediate class.
Jess says she'd love to.
And as she takes her apron off, she thinks, now's the moment when he'll take a second look at me and realise I'm a beautiful young woman.
But then
she says it like taking the apron off will like suddenly transform her into a different person.
Yeah, she's like, surprise, I'm not the Pillsbury Doughboy.
And I guess Lila did say the apron made her look weird. So maybe she's like, oh, this is why he hasn't fancied me. This is why he hasn't asked me out.
Imagine if
apron makes me look weird.
Imagine if she took the apron off and Jean-Pierre looked at her and was like, oh my God, you're a child.
Who are you? Oh yeah, you're a child, yeah. Suddenly, a beautiful redhead storms in.
Yeah, the door swings open.
She hugs Jean-Pierre.
JP.
Keep saying JP.
You've written it like Elizabeth writes the Oracle. It's great.
Yeah. Jean-Pierre introduces the redhead as his wife.
Yeah, Lisbeth.
That's definitely correct.
Okay.
Lisbeth. And Jessica thinks, but he looked so unmarried.
you sir have the look of an unmarried man.
She feels stupid, but she thinks, well, at least I can still impress my parents on Friday.
Yeah, she's still going to stay on the course because she really does want to impress her parents.
She gets over Jean-Pierre fast.
Yeah, I think she's heartbroken by it, but she really does want to impress her parents with this cooking.
On Wednesday afternoon, Elizabeth has told Todd that she thinks Enid is depressed.
Yeah, she's still not come back to school. She's fallen behind in her work, and she's become socially distant.
We're all socially distant nowadays.
Yeah, this was the 80s, though.
We've become socially distant, not with each other. We're in a bubble.
We are in a bubble, yes.
So,
we are, though, by pure coincidence, probably about 2 meters apart due to the distance of the mics right now.
Yeah. So, Todd kisses the tip of her nose.
Oh, I got that as well. Yeah.
I knew you were going to notice that. And he says, if anyone can cheer her up, it's you, Liz. So Liz goes over to Enid to help her pick out a dress to wear to the dance. And Enid shows Liz how she's learned to wheel herself around now, so she won't need anyone to push her.
Yeah, Liz says, well, you won't be needing that much longer anyway. And
then Liz is really surprised when Enid says she wants to double date with her and Todd.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of starts Liz off feeling horrible because she just can't bring herself to tell Enid the truth about George. This is the one time, by the way, where I will give Liz this. This is the first time she's had a secret that is really hard to deal with because of the situation that someone's in. It's like, okay, this might be the first time, Liz, where you've actually...
I think she should tell Enid, though.
So do I.
Because, your best friend, like, if your best friend's boyfriend
You'd want to know.
Has an affair, you tell them.
I'd want to know
what the situation
regardless.
is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But whereas normally it's just purely Liz being an idiot, this time around I'm like, okay, I can kind of see something here.
And yeah, Enid confides in Liz she's been feeling like George hates her, and she thinks it's because of the accident. And Elizabeth wishes she could tell her the truth. Like, she can.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could.
But she knows it's not her place. It is her place.
Yeah, you're our best
friend. Like we
friend.
just said, as the best friend...
You're absolutely right.
...who's caught George cheating, it is your place to say.
It absolutely is. And by the way, to make things worse, you had the power to tell her before she got in the plane and got crippled.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which must weigh... You'd think that would weigh heavily on Liz, because if she'd actually told her when she found out, Enid wouldn't have been in the bloody plane in the first place.
This is all Elizabeth's fault.
It kind of is.
For keeping her damn secrets.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the dance. The droids are playing. I feel like it's been ages.
It has been a while since the droids have played somewhere. It was the running joke of the first, 6-7 books, and then they did back off with the droids.
Well, they are back.
Jessica is at the dance and she looks around and she can't believe how incredible the sports hall looks. And she thinks that the dance committee, another committee, did a really good job. And I've put a note here saying, I am so glad we didn't have to hear about this committee.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad this just happened.
That does sound more interesting than the committees we've had so far.
We have had some really boring committees.
Yeah.
Not that I think committees are very action-packed generally, but a dance one would be better. Yeah.
Jessica's actually ended up going to the dance with Ken.
Yeah, apparently he's not as sexy or mysterious as Jean-Pierre, but he's a lot of fun at parties. So,
and he's also apparently an amazing dancer, surprisingly.
I wouldn't
have placed him as an amazing dancer.
Me either.
He's
a bit big and jockey and, Although I still think of, Little Ken. Imagine Little Ken dancing.
Oh. Jessica knew she looked her best.
Brilliant.
And lovely Ken had brought her a rose.
Aww.
So Mr. Collins, you know that guy? He looks like Robert Redford. He's got strawberry blonde hair, laughing blue eyes.
Always hangs around with kids. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one. He looks even more dashing than usual in a white linen jacket and navy blue trousers.
Brilliant.
And guess who he's dancing with?
He's dancing with Nora Dalton, Mrs. Dalton.
Ken and Jessica think it looks like they've fallen in love.
Well, I think there might be something in it as well.
Me too.
Jess also thinks this is good news for Lila because Mrs. Dalton had been dating George Fowler for a while, and Lila fucking hated that.
Jessica also spots Robin and she thinks, she's gained a bit of weight. Robin's come with a friend of her cousin's because she couldn't get a date now that she's back to being a social outcast.
She's had to resort to some guy called Stan, who we'll never hear about again.
Apparently he's got thick glasses.
He's barely here as well, because what happens in a bit? Where does Stan go? He's just outside on his own, I've got no way of getting home.
Lila's come with a sophomore called Louis Scott, who's boring and nearly broke her foot.
Yes, he almost broke her foot while trying. Almost broke her feet whilst they tried to dance. Jess then looks up and sees Enid coming, and Jess says, "Quote: Speaking of broken feet, look who's just come in."
And the whole gym stares at Enid like she's a freak. And Lila says coldly,
"Oh my god."
Lila says, "How inappropriate. Who'd dream of showing up to a dance in a wheelchair?"
Jesus Christ.
And Jess giggles. I thought Jess was being nice now, but...
Yeah, not really.
Giving up on that.
They then, of course, notice, as George walks in with Enid, that Robin is staring at George.
And George is staring back. Jessica thinks she's never seen two people look so hopelessly in love.
Enid tells Liz that she feels awful and out of place. And yeah.
She says, "Whoever heard of a cripple coming to a dance?"
Oh, damn.
And Liz reassures her she looks fine, and then is like, see you later, I'm going off to dance
Yeah,
with Todd.
but anyway, here's Todd.
You're upset. I'm just going to go off and dance with my boyfriend with my working legs.
But luckily, a bunch of girls come over. Caroline Pierce, Dee Dee, and a bunch of others. And they come over to speak to Enid. And they're trying to be nice.
Yeah, it's Caroline, Olivia, Dee Dee, and a whole massive gang.
Yeah.
Because George has gone off to get some drinks. They ask her loads of questions. She's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So she looks around for George. He's at the bar. He's having an intense-looking conversation with Robin.
Oh my goodness. A horrible thought crosses Enid's mind. She's heard that Robin split up with Alan recently for a secret guy.
She feels suspicious. So when George gets back, she tells him to go and have a dance with somebody. And he's like, are you sure you don't mind? And she says she doesn't mind, but she does mind. Like, classic girl move. Like, yeah, I don't mind at all. I really mind.
Yeah, classic girl move, which he misreads. But misreading is one thing.
I know.
So misreading that and going to dance with someone when clearly she doesn't want you to would be one thing. But what does he fucking do?
He goes and dances with Robin.
He
just can't control himself.
No, and I don't have the exact quote here, but he holds her really close, puts his head on her shoulder, like it's a proper close dance. It's not even,
And it's noticed by Enid.
Yeah.
And then weirdly, we just cut to Liz telling Todd what had happened rather than them telling us as it happens.
Yeah, so it then cuts to later in the night with Liz and Todd discussing how awful it was, but that George did actually look quite happy to have it out in the open.
Yeah.
And then...
So basically, George had come back over to Enid.
Yeah.
Enid had blew up at him and demanded to know if he was in love with Robin. And he didn't need to answer because his face said it all.
Yeah.
And then she'd said, take me home.
So they have this conversation, and then immediately after, Todd and Liz talk about how great they are as a fucking couple again.
So first of all, Todd suggests that Elizabeth goes over and checks on Enid.
Yeah, reasonable.
But she's like, nah.
She'll be fine.
I'll just stay here and have a great time with you.
She only suggested that without George she'd be fucking suicidal the other day, but I'm sure she'll be all right on her own.
I want to stay and dance.
Yeah, I want to dance with you, Todd.
And then she thinks smugly how lucky she is to have Todd.
These fucking two, honestly.
And then he tells her he's taking her to an expensive restaurant called the Palmer House to celebrate their monthly anniversary. And where do these kids get their money from?
Monthly anniversary. How long have they been together now? They must be insufferable.
And where does Todd get all this money from?
That's true. He's driving around in this beat-up old Datsun. Is that because he spends all his money on, monthly
they make a massive point
meals?
of saying how expensive this restaurant is.
Yeah.
But this reminds her she's forgotten about her parents' anniversary.
Oh, no.
Todd suggests she gets them a dinner and a theatre package. And I was like, damn it. I really wanted her to forget.
Yeah, so did I. I really wanted Jess to actually do this.
Yeah. On Sunday night, Elizabeth finally managed to catch up with Enid.
Yeah.
She did try twice on Saturday, but Enid wasn't there. Wasn't home.
Couldn't be bothered on Friday, but Saturday she gave it a go.
And she was just having too good of a time at the dance.
Just having a great time
to
at
worry
the
about her
dance,
friend
so,
potentially killing herself.
But Enid said it's all fine. It was just a dance with Robin. It's not a problem.
She acts really weird.
Yeah.
She says, look, it was just a misunderstanding. And then she says, George won't leave me anyway as long as I'm... And then she looks down at her wheelchair.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth says, well... why would you want him to stay with you if he was in love with Robin?
Yeah.
And she says he wouldn't be with me unless he wanted to be. Like Enid says, he wouldn't be with me unless he wanted to be.
Yeah, she kind of says, he'll stay with me as long as I'm in this chair, but then immediately contradicts that by saying, he wants to stay with me. It's like,
She also tells Elizabeth she's made no progress with the physio and that she's never going to walk again.
Yeah, she basically says, no, I'm clearly paralysed for life. That's that.
That's that. Give up. Back at home, Jessica's doing a trial run for Friday. She's cooking a cold seafood salad containing mussels, crabs, lobster, and, of course, clams.
Clams.
Elizabeth tells her what Enid said, and Jessica says, well, look at it from Enid's point of view. She's not got much to gain from walking. It's like, well...
No!
Only apart from the fact that she can live a normal life.
What's walking ever done for us?
I know. But she does say, she says, look, as soon as she starts walking, George is going to go back to Robin.
She's right.
So 2 hours later, everyone's full of fish from Jessica's meal.
Not for long.
But one by one, they start turning pale and running to the bathroom and puking up.
I actually wasn't sure what was going on at first. Because Liz just says, excuse me, and just gets up and runs away. And I was like, is she mad at Jess or something?
It's a massive coincidence as well. It's all like one after another. It's
in synchronized.
Yeah,
it is synced.
Completely, perfectly synchronized. So eventually it's just Ned and Jessica left. And Ned sternly asks Jessica, what she put in the salad? And she says, I worked so hard to get the mussels open after I steamed them. And
of course Ned says, mussels are meant to open by themselves. And if they don't open, you're not meant to use them.
Yeah, it means they're gone bad. And everyone has a massive go at Jessica again.
I know. Like...
Jessica's the only one who isn't sick because she was so busy preparing the food that she didn't get to eat much of it.
Yeah. Now, I don't have kids, but I would like to think if I did and this happened, I'd be annoyed, but I wouldn't say that to them. I'd just be like, oh, you know, it's not your fault. You tried your best.
You fucking idiot.
You piece of shit. Why can't you be more like Liz?
Later on, Elizabeth calls Todd and she tells him that she's got a plan to help Enid, but she can't tell him what it is. So,
it's a
not
secret.
This again. Like, why mention it then?
Yeah.
Why call him to tell him that you've got a plan that you can't tell him about?
Yep.
So on Monday, Enid's mum visits Elizabeth because she's worried about Enid.
Yeah.
She's given up on her physio and all she does is sleep.
Mrs. Rollins has also been to the doctor who has confirmed, no, as we said before, the surgery was a complete success. She is fine.
Yeah. They think it's a psychological block.
Yeah. Liz, for some reason, can't bring herself to just tell her about George.
She lies and says, I don't know what could be wrong with her. Elizabeth wants to talk to an outsider about this. Even though she won't tell her boyfriend, she won't tell Enid's mum.
Who could she possibly
who could she tell?
Oh, I just can't think. Who would she go to instead of her boyfriend?
Who are you going to call? Mr. Collins.
Oh, yes.
So she just goes over to Mr. Collins' house, like that's normal and appropriate for a student to do.
Yeah.
Guess who's there?
Well, I couldn't believe this. So first of all, she opens the door and immediately is welcomed in by Mr. Collins. Immediately, Teddy runs up and hugs her leg, and I'm glad because I love Teddy. We love Teddy. I'm happy to see Teddy. And it's nice to hear that he's no longer red and blotchy and crying on the sofa, which is where we left him last time.
Yeah.
But there's someone else in the room.
Miss Dalton, and she's wearing an apron. Even though she's apparently there to brainstorm ideas for a class fundraiser.
Well, I think Mr. Collins panicked and was like, she's here to do school stuff.
So Liz ends up telling both of them the situation, and Miss Dalton says Liz is a very perceptive young woman with a keen understanding of human nature.
No, she isn't.
I know. Liz says she has a plan, but she's going to need to borrow...
Excuse me. Can I borrow your son?
Yeah, she says I'm going to need to borrow Teddy. Mr. Collins just agrees, like without questioning why. He's just like, sure.
Yeah, sure. Like,
borrow my 6-year-old.
For reasons you're not going to tell me?
Yeah.
Why not?
So later on, Jessica's feeling down about the whole mussel incident. Clam incident. What was it?
I think it was clams.
The clams.
Well, clams or mussels, one or the other.
Yeah. She'd also heard Liz bet, she'd heard from one of the other students that Liz bet can't even bake brownies. So she guesses that Jean-Pierre doesn't find cooking ability attractive in women. It's like, it's maybe because you're not a woman, you're a schoolgirl.
Yeah, probably.
It's like, oh, he didn't fall for me because I cooked good pastry. That's it then. He doesn't find cooking ability attractive.
Yeah.
But she's planned the new menu for Friday for Ned and Alice's meal.
Yeah.
And she's very excited. There's no seafood involved this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's veal piccata, string beans, wild rice, and raspberry tort, the same as she made for Enid.
Well, Enid is still alive. So we can assume from that the raspberry tort might be okay.
The whole family, though, they're still winding her up.
Well, Jess actually offers to help Alice with the cooking. And Alice is like...
No thanks.
No thanks, not after last time. It's like, Jess just got her cooking diploma, right? Like, literally, she's just got this. You know, she's doing really well. She's applying herself to something. And they're just awful to her.
Alice tells her not to be so sensitive. And she thinks it's okay for Elizabeth to be sensitive. But on Friday, I'll be the good daughter.
Yeah. So the Wakefields go out for some Mexican food.
Yeah, and this is Wednesday now.
It's Wednesday, and Ned gets all lawyery about George and Robin. And he's like, do you have evidence?
They're still teasing Jessica as well
I know.
about the food poisoning. And then when Liz tells them all latest on Enid, Jessica says it's all George's fault. And then Ned's like, how do you know that George has really been seeing Robin? And
Would this stand up in court?
He says to Jessica she could be accused of slander.
Well, not really, because she has seen things. And
then when Elizabeth tells them it's true, Ned's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, they were just...
double standards.
Being a shit to Jessica.
Yeah, absolutely.
Liz says that Enid's being manipulative, even though it's not deliberate. And she says she does actually feel a bit sorry for George. And Ned says, I knew I could count on you to be objective, Elizabeth.
Unlike your awful sister.
Yeah, this pisses Jessica off even more.
Understandably.
Yeah.
They have really treated her badly in this book.
And then Liz pulls out the theatre tickets. And Jessica wails that she was going to surprise him with a dinner on Friday night. And they're like, oh, we're still not over Sunday's meal.
I know. And this is like, no... this was going to be your daughter's anniversary present to you. At least be like, oh no, well maybe we could do it the day out. You know, let's do it another time. Not, oh well, we barely recovered from the last time you tried that. It's like she's trying to do something nice for you guys.
And Jessica thinks, as usual, Elizabeth's come up smelling of roses, and I'm just a thorn.
Oh.
That week at school, Elizabeth apologises to Robin, and Robin gracefully forgives her.
Yeah.
But she says, you were wrong though.
Yeah, she explains that the car was outside her house because George came over to split up with her in person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she also explains that she does love George. She's in love with George. But you know, and he wants to be with her too, but they will not because of Enid's condition.
Yeah, and George has figured out that Enid's refusing to get better to keep hold of him, and he's sick of it.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, he's had enough.
He actually wants to just be with Robin now.
Yeah.
But Robin has said no. And then Robin tells Liz what a loyal friend she is. It's like, what?
This is the point in the book, because you told me.
Where just the praise starts.
Just the praise for Liz. Well, actually, I suppose it started with with Ned and Alice.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Basically, the next
20 pages.
20 pages of just everyone praising Liz.
Yep.
So yeah, Robin says what a loyal friend Elizabeth is, how fucking amazing she is. And it's like, she's not a loyal friend. She didn't tell Enid, and she treated you badly, Robin.
Yeah.
And Robin says, I wish I could be just like you. Good God. That night, Elizabeth puts her plan in motion. The secret plan.
Yeah.
She tells Enid to come over to her house tomorrow night. And she says it's important.
And then she gives Mr. Collins a call, who instructs Teddy that the next day he will go over to Liz and do whatever she asks him to do. Yeah. Basically, just do it, whatever it is.
Mr. Collins says, "I suppose you want to recruit Boy Wonder to help you with this mysterious plan."
I would want to know what the plan was. I'd
be
like, well, it's my son, my 6-year-old son. I might be cool with it. I just need to know. Yeah. What are you going to do?
So Elizabeth asks to speak to Teddy, and she asks him if he's a good swimmer. And he says, I'm the best. I was in the sharks at summer camp.
Aww.
So she tells him to come to her house for a swim tomorrow, and he'll get his big assignment. So the next day, Teddy and Enid have arrived at the Wakefields. and Teddy has been briefed.
Yes.
Liz tells Enid to keep an eye on Teddy while she goes and grabs some drinks, and she warns Teddy to stay away from the edge of the pool. So he doesn't.
Enid protests, by the way, as Liz is leaving. She's like, I'm paralysed.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about this.
Yeah. Teddy starts wheeling his toy truck around the edge of the pool, and he ignores Enid when she shouts at him to get back.
Teddy falls in.
Yeah, he drops the truck in and jumps in after it. Enid screams for Liz, but Liz doesn't come. Like, this is a very dangerous gamble here.
There are a number of problems with this.
Although I guess Teddy can actually swim, so...
But she's only taking Teddy's word for it that he can swim.
Yeah.
Like, he's a 6-year-old kid.
Come on.
But he might not have been. That could have been like a complete fabrication that a 6-year-old just dreamt up. Like, oh yeah, I'm the best swimmer ever. I'm Aquaman.
So...
And also, it's been clear. Enid will make a 100% recovery with extensive rehab, which she has not had or gone to.
Also, she's not really going to be at her strongest after she's been sat in a chair for a few weeks.
That's what I mean. Even if she hadn't had the injury,
she might even be traumatised about swimming again, seeing as the
put her
accident was in water.
I know. The accident literally was caused in the water. I know. Oh.
But Liz just ignores Enid's screams, and meanwhile Teddy's pretending to drown.
I kind of wish this book ended with Liz coming out and finding Enid drowned in the water.
I thought you were going to say, I kind of wish this book ended with Teddy dying.
No, not Teddy. No. I mean, I don't want Enid to die either. I just want Liz to learn.
Yeah, like this was a shit plan.
Or like that to drag Enid out and then
plan.
Like resuscitate her and stuff. It's like, this is a really dumb idea.
Like now you've caused another accident.
Yeah.
After you caused Enid's first accident, really.
Yeah, technically.
In a way.
I think so.
But Enid leaps off out of the chair. It's a fucking miracle. She runs in after Teddy.
And sinks like a stone.
And when Elizabeth comes back, Teddy says, Enid saved my life. She ran to the pool.
Yeah.
And Enid's like, it just happened. I don't know how. I didn't stop to think.
Now, this worked, right? Enid is cured. She managed to walk. But if I was Enid right now, I would be furious. I'd be like, okay, that worked, but you nearly drowned a child to prove your point. Because she doesn't know at this point that Teddy can even swim. So I would be fuming. And also, you didn't know that my legs were going to work. Like, doing it in this way, there was a real possibility I would have drowned.
Yeah.
Or just fallen over and hit my head. This was a terrible idea. But instead of that, Enid's like, you are literally Jesus. Yeah. You are the best thing that has ever happened, ever.
And Jessica hears the commotion and she comes out. And when they tell her what happened, she's like, but Teddy's an excellent swimmer.
Everybody knows Teddy was in the Sharks.
And Enid works out what Elizabeth has done from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, she's like, you're amazing, Elizabeth.
Well.
And she just heaps loads of praise on her.
She's not the only one, though.
She's definitely back to herself, isn't she? Just
She's
praising Liz.
Back to sucking up to Liz. Yeah.
And she says what a good friend Elizabeth is. It's like, you wouldn't say that if you knew that, you know...
She could have avoided this entire situation.
She knew George was cheating on you ages ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's literally pages and pages of Enid praising Liz.
Yeah.
And Enid also says she's going to split up with George.
Yeah. She obviously has realised it's the right thing to do now. She's going to split up with George, and that's going to be that. And
then we cut to the dairy burger.
Oh, boy.
Elizabeth literally gets a standing ovation when she walks in.
Yes, Olivia leaps to her feet and starts clapping and cheering, and the whole dairy burger follows suit. Now, apparently, this only happened like an hour ago, and yet somehow they all know.
Caroline Pierce.
Caroline bloody
She is
Pierce.
the Wakefield's neighbour. She might have
She's the
been able
Wakefield's
to
neighbour.
see.
And although she said she wasn't going to gossip anymore, I guess when it's positive things, she might.
And then Elizabeth and Todd go back to the Wakefields. Ned and Alice are home from the theatre, and they bumped into Mr. Collins and Mr. Dalton. Mrs. Dalton.
Miss Dalton.
Miss Dalton.
Yeah.
So they've heard what she did as well, and they heap even more praise on her, like pages and pages.
Yep.
They even crack open some champagne and toast her.
Yep.
Like, I skipped through the...
Never mind Jess, who passed, got a diploma in cooking or whatever she got. Never mind.
She's a piece of shit.
Yeah, she's just awful.
Like, I was skimming through the last few chapters.
So was I.
Because it was literally just people praising Liz.
Yeah.
And Liz smugly thinks what great parents and a great boyfriend she has.
Ugh.
Blah, blah, blah. On Saturday at the beach, Enid tells Liz that her and George have had an amicable breakup. Enid isn't even mad at George or Robin, and she says it's not the end of the world. And it's like, well,
it almost was
a few days ago you were, implying you might kill yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally the end of the world a couple of days ago.
And now you're just like, yeah, it's fine. This is almost as bad as Elizabeth and Todd's breakup in Special Christmas.
Oh, God.
Where it's like, yeah, it's amicable. Everything's fine.
It's fine.
I want you to go out with Suzanne Hanlon.
Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love to see you with Suzanne Devlin. That'd be great.
Yeah. There is someone called Suzanne Hanlon.
Oh, is there? Oh, okay.
Coming up, and I keep getting the two muddled up.
Don't get that. Unless Suzanne Hanlon is also awful.
She is.
Oh, okay.
She is awful. So they've also found out that the plane was faulty. So it wasn't George's fault.
George was innocent of that. It was not his fault.
And he's considering flying again. Enid says, flying's like love. Just because you crash once, it doesn't mean you'll never soar. And Elizabeth says, you should write fortune cookies.
Or for the Oracle.
Yeah.
I mean, best friend. Come work at the Oracle.
And then back at the Wakefields' house an hour later, the Wakefields are having a barbecue. Probably in Liz's fucking honour.
Yeah.
And Jess is back to her old self. She's refusing to help with the food. But I'm not surprised she's refusing to help with the food. They'll just...
No, not at all.
They'll just bring up the seafood again.
Yeah.
So she tells them she can't do anything right anyway. And then Liz tells them about Enid, and she explains that George was at her house to end it. And Ned's like, see, Jessica, it's dangerous to make judgments based on circumstantial evidence. So this isn't a court case, Ned.
Unbelievable, Ned.
This is your daughter.
Yeah.
Jessica says she's sick of being picked on.
She's right. She is being picked on.
Yeah, and she runs to her room crying. She can't stand anymore.
Oh, boy. It took you longer to get to that because there's a whole chapter of Caitlin at the back of that book.
Yeah, I was trying to flick to the back page of the book. It's got a chapter of Caitlin in the back. So the end isn't the end.
Yeah.
And she thinks, since her plan to impress them had been such a miserable failure, she was going to have to come up with some other way of changing their minds. Only I'd better think of something fast, because I don't think I can stand things the way they are around here for another minute. Jessica embarks on a desperate course of action in Sweet Valley High number 21, Runaway.
Oh my, I cannot wait for Runaway.
So yeah, we're looking forward to Runaway because she runs away with a guy called Nicky Shepherd.
Yes.
And Rich is living with a guy called Nick Shepherd.
I am. He's a friend of ours, and I just can't stop thinking of Nick whenever we talk about it. So, been looking forward to this one for a long time. And also, I don't think they will, but I hope the Wakefields learn a goddamn lesson from the next book because they treated Jess awfully in this book.
Yeah,
the whole way through.
So, I would say we'll be back in 2 weeks with Runaway, but we won't.
No, we will not. Why not?
Because on the 1st of February, it's Kelly's Roadhouse's first birthday.
Yeah, we're 1 year old.
And we are doing a special episode. We are going to read Lila's story.
Yeah, we love
Lila.
We do love Lila.
And it's a bit of a special book, so...
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. So before we head off, though, I would like to say a big thank you to TB. That was what they wanted us to say, was TB. I'm not doing Elizabeth Wakefield. For amazing work. She has sent and is continuing to work on, but is sending every single cover of every Sweet Valley book. As well as all the editions, twins, and all the different versions of twins and everything. In separate folders, and she's also sent us a list of all of the episodes in all the books in order, including the specials.
Yeah, So thank you for that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We shouted you out on Instagram.
We did
on
indeed.
the Kelly's Roadhouse page.
Yeah.
But thank you, TB.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Jodie Char also told us she wants to smack the look off of Jessica's face. That was on about our last episode showdown on the cover. She wants to smack the look off of Jessica's face.
Yeah.
But that book is one of her favourites. And she googled racing suit, and it kind of looks like a pair of spandex shorts made out of wetsuit material.
Brilliant.
More material than old Bruce Patman's tiny suit. I googled it as well, and it did look like I imagined, like a wetsuit with short sleeves and short legs.
Yeah, I think I know the kind.
Very weird choice of outfit for a pool party.
Yes, bizarre.
Waterware said that you should watch videos of killer whales in the wild. They're actually really bad.
Oh. What did I say?
You said that killer whales weren't that bad. They just got a bad name.
I said they've never killed a human, I think was what I was meant to be saying. I don't know what I said. I think what I meant to say was killer whales have never killed a human outside of captivity.
Well, yeah, check out some killer whale videos anyway.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I'll come back educated on killer whales next time.
So, yeah, we will see you in 2 weeks for Lila's story.
I am very excited. And, of course, we will be back next week with Casey's.
Yeah, we're doing Buried Treasure. And we've got an announcement to make next week as well for Casey's.
We do indeed. But that's going to wait until next week.
Something to do with Valentine's Day.
Something to do with Valentine's Day indeed. Mm-hmm. But thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.